Impact held its Bound for Glory pay-per-view last night in Las Vegas. And I have to say, it is depressing to see and to hear how different an atmosphere it is now for these Impact shows. I mean, it's been this way for a while. But just, Bound for Glory has always traditionally been their big annual event, right? Or one of them anyway, one of the top two. I always looked at it as kind of like their WrestleMania, even more than Slammiversary. And to just see the atmosphere now as compared to even how it was a few years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, let alone, a decade ago, you would never even know that this was the same company that did over 2 million viewers at one point on Spike TV. It's just like a totally different promotion now. Matt Stryker was on commentary running down the card at the beginning of the show, and they were piping his commentary in for the rundown over the PA system. And when he got to the title match between Christian Cage and Josh Alexander, he asked the people, how many of you think Alexander is going to walk out as the champion? And maybe half a dozen people kind of clapped and responded. And then he asked, how many of you think Christian is going to leave with the title? And it got no real reaction. And Stryker just goes, this crowd is split right down the middle. That's like, yep. The most unintentionally funny moment of the night was that moment right there. Gail Kim inducted Awesome Kong into the Impact Hall of Fame before the show. They showed highlights of it later on. She made a very nice speech. Her and Gail put that Knockouts division on the map. Before Stephanie McMahon was crowing about there being a women's revolution, there was Gail Kim and Awesome Kong in TNA, and we should never forget that. The Iconics, now going by The Inspiration, made their Impact debuts, winning the Knockouts tag team titles from Rosemary and Jessica Havoc in their very first match. That is a no-go from me. I was not exactly a fan of their act in WWE. Maybe they'll tweak it and it'll be different here at Impact. But look, I'm glad they found work and they got their visa issues settled, because I know that was, a little scary for them. I heard them, I think it was Cassie talking about that, I think on Renee Young's podcast a while back. So I'm happy that they found work. But as far as the Iconics as the tag team champions here at Impact, yeah, I think I'm going to pass on that. That Trey Miguel guy, let's talk about him. Trey Miguel, he's pretty good. He's pretty good, isn't he? Yeah, I'd say so. After Josh Alexander gave up his X Division title to Chase after the world title, Miguel won a triple threat to become the new X Division champion. A very good match against El Phantasmo and Steve Macklin, the former Forgotten Son in WWE. He is forgotten no more. Although he was forgotten at the finish because he didn't win. Moose. I was puzzled when they booked Moose to lose to Chris Sabin. He got rolled up by Chris Sabin at Slammiversary. Now, I remember talking about that. I thought he should have been the one to take that Impact title from Kenny Omega. Here on this show, he won a Call Your Shot gauntlet match to earn the right to challenge for the championship of his choosing. The fucking demon. Not the dead demon that we saw against Roman Reigns falling flat on his face at Extreme Rules. The WCW demon made a surprise cameo in the gauntlet match. I don't know how they swung that one with Gene Simmons. Somebody got to let Gene Simmons know about that. He might have something to say about that. Good Brothers retained their Impact Tag Team titles over Bullet Club and Finjuice. Mickie James ended the reign of Deonna Purrazzo at 343 days to win the Knockouts Championship. That was a surprise. I was not expecting that. Especially after, Deonna had made so much noise recently about wanting a match with Britt Baker. It almost seemed like they were setting something up. But then who goes over? See, that's the problem if you do a match like that, is that who goes over. But it was a good match. And then in the main event, Josh Alexander, his wife and son in the front row, forces Christian Cage to submit to the ankle lock to win his first Impact World Championship. I said last week, this feels like a title change. It's time for Christian to come back to AEW television, and Christian is not, Kenny Omega, who's going to go out there on TV and win every single one of his matches. And if he's out there losing while also holding the Impact World Championship, I would imagine that Scott D'Amore and the brain trust at Impact would not like that very much. And so we did get a title change, and we got a very nice moment with Alexander and his wife and his son in the ring, and the whole family embracing. And it looked like they were going to go off the air and have this big feel-good moment. And credit to Matt Stryker and D'Lo Brown on commentary, who sold the shit out of this. Their voices were cracking, they were crying, they were really trying to put this over. And then Moose comes out. He is cashing in, and it is such a tired concept at this point. It's not an Impact problem, it's a wrestling problem, but there he is, telling the referee he's cashing in his gauntlet win to challenge for the Impact World title. Alexander ushers his wife and kid into the corner to get them out of harm's way. So they're still in the ring while they're watching their husband and they're watching their father walk right into a spear. And in a matter of about 6 seconds, Moose pins Josh Alexander and becomes the new Impact Wrestling World Champion. At long last, something they should have done months ago. But when he was hot as a babyface, they should have done it. I like this. And I know not everybody probably did. But I like this, and I'll tell you why. First of all, I've been saying that they should have put the title on Moose, and they did. So I'm not going to come on here now and say that I have an issue with it, because I said that's what I had wanted to see. And that's what they gave us here on this show. Would I have done it this way? No. But I do like the fact that they put the championship on him. But, second of all, this is the Daniel Bryan story from 2013 at SummerSlam. Daniel Bryan pinned John Cena in the main event at SummerSlam that year to win his very first WWE championship. And people were very happy for him, and he looked like there was going to be this great feel-good moment going off the air. And then Randy Orton came out. And he teased cashing in his Money in the Bank. And that's when Triple H, who was the referee for the Cena-Bryan match, he was still in the ring. He gave Bryan a pedigree. He turned heel. Orton came in. And he pinned Daniel Bryan in a matter of seconds. It was over. And Randy Orton was the new champion after cashing in his Money in the Bank. And what it did is it helped establish Bryan as their biggest babyface. Even if they never intended to see the story through, originally, in Bryan's own words, at WrestleMania the following year, he was going to be 6th from the top against Sheamus in a match that had nothing to do with any championship. So even if that wasn't their original intent, it set him on his course. Fans got behind him, and he ended up going to the main event and getting his moment at WrestleMania. They have now established Moose as the new top heel in this company after what he did to this guy on this show. And Josh Alexander now has been established as the new top babyface who can chase for the championship. I also thought the image of Moose standing over Alexander as his son ran over to check on, his dad and just his family hovering over him as he laid there. And there's Moose standing over them holding the title. I mean, how old is his son? His son can't be older than 5 or 6 years old. This little kid runs over and tries to check on daddy. That's a great visual. But it's a great way to establish your new top heel for what he did to this man on this show. So I liked it. And there was a lot of talk going into this pay-per-view about Braun Strowman possibly debuting for Impact last night. He was spotted on his way to Las Vegas. He did not show up. I don't even know if he was backstage. I certainly didn't read anything indicating he was there. Now, he still could show up at their TV tapings. They're taping the next few weeks of television in Vegas. Minoru Suzuki is debuting for Impact on those tapings. If Strowman does show up, they may be using the nickname Titan for him, or The Titan. He could be the one to challenge Moose next for the championship. I mean, look, the Iconics came in on night 1 and they became the women's tag team champions. So who's to say that Strowman wouldn't come in and he wouldn't immediately be thrown into a program against Moose? Maybe they bring him in not with the idea of putting the belt on Strowman right away. Maybe they're going to bring him in and use him to help elevate Moose. Is that something Strowman would even be interested in, coming in and being used to help get somebody else over? I don't know. If they can pay his asking price, maybe he'll do whatever they want him to do. As long as he doesn't win the championship. If they want, Josh Alexander to chase for it, then he may not get first crack at the belt. It may go to somebody else. He may have to claw his way back to the top. that's a story that they could tell over the next several months. But I think a Moose run with the belt is long overdue, and I was happy to see him finally get it.